Welcome to Get Wed,
a podcast to plan your wedding by.
I'm Katie.
And I'm Kerry.
And we're both here as professional photographers
and brides-to-be to help you plan your big day.
Each week we'll discuss a topic that you'll encounter along your wedding planning journey.
And with the help of fellow industry experts, we'll navigate this crazy wedding world
together. Hello!
Hi!
It's so hard to do an introduction sometimes.
Impossible.
Today we are joined by Sapphire from the Flower Arranger. Hi, Sapphire.
Hello.
Hey. So today's subject is obviously all about floristry, which is a question a load of our listeners have been asking us about, and we're both completely clueless about it. So it's really nice to have you here to answer our questions.
Have an expert.
Hopefully I'm some help.
Do you want to just let us all know who you are, what you do, and what your business is? That'd be great.
Okay. I am Sapphire, and I own a florist called the Flower Arranger, and we specialise in weddings and events across Essex and London. We're not your average florist. We don't stick to your normal floristry rules, tend to do things a little bit different, and work very closely with our clients to make sure that we're doing something that they absolutely love and that really reflects the two of them, which is always quite nice.
Yeah.
And
lovely.
So, hold on, I was trying to think of a question, but it's gone from my mind.
How long have you been doing it for?
I've been doing floristry for about four years now.
Jesus.
And I've been running time flies. I've been running Flower Arranger since February.
Very nice. Oh, congratulations then.
So how, when it comes to floristry, like I mentioned, me and Katie are both completely clueless, and I've not even booked my florist for my wedding or anything yet, so this is a really selfish question. But what do you do if you've literally got no idea about any flowers apart from what colour they are?
To be honest, that's most people's level.
Okay,
it's very rare that I get a client that comes in and they're like, I want this type of flower and I'd like this type of flower. They're usually like, I'd like the flower that's like round and it's purple and it's got leaves. And I'm like, okay. Instagram, Pinterest are going to be your best friends for choosing your flowers because there's just an endless amount of images.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know, the beauty of it is you don't need to know what they are. You just need to save the image and take it to your florist. But that's when you're choosing your florist, you really need to consider who you pick.
Mm-hmm.
When you're picking images off Pinterest and screenshotting things on Instagram, you want to make sure you've got a florist whose work, it doesn't have to be their work that you're looking at, but that have a similar style, because if you're taking them something that's completely different to what they do, the likelihood you might not get the same, their style isn't going to be the same as what you're after.
Mm-hmm.
But most florists can do pretty much anything. So if you take them a picture, most florists will love it. Like, I love it when a client brings me an image and it's something I've never done before. I'm like, yes, I can do that. And it's fun. It's exciting.
Yeah, I suppose it could get quite boring if it's like the same thing over and over again for you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm quite lucky. My work is always quite different. All my clients, because I work so closely with my clients, and a big part of it is that they choose what they want and they get really involved in the whole thing. Generally, every wedding is completely different. I've not done any weddings that have been similar.
Mm-hmm.
The only times it's a crossover is if one person's got pink and another person's got pink. But even then, they've been asking for, like, one wants these massive arrangements and somebody else wants like low, full of greenery things. Fun.
Wow. No, that is really cool, isn't it? And does it not annoy you then when somebody sends you a picture? Because I'd feel bad kind of pushing you into. Is it nice to have complete freedom, or is that more hard? Is it better to have a rough idea rather than complete freedom?
A rough idea, because it's so nerve-wracking before a wedding, before you give them their wedding flowers. You just don't know. And the weddings where I've been given complete freedom are probably the scariest, because I don't have a clear idea of what I was supposed to do. I've just made something, and I just got my fingers crossed.
Yeah.
I just hope that they like it. It's a bit scary. I don't mind being sent pictures. It's helpful. and it gives me a clearer idea of what the client is after, because often when you try and explain something, it's not always that clear, because obviously you've got an image in your head and I can't always
see it.
I can't see it.
Yeah.
So no, I always go through like Pinterest, Instagram. When people come in and see me, we spend probably a good at least quarter of the consultation going through, and I ask them to show me what they like and then what they don't like. So
yeah,
I can start to pinpoint, then I'll get an idea of the kind of shapes that you like, the colours that you're picking out. And usually there's certain types of flowers that they'll pick out again and again without even realising that they're doing it. Like they'll have lots of roses, or they'll be purposely avoiding a rose, for example.
Yeah. That's really good, because I reckon that's something that you, as like an expert in floristry, would see, whereas me looking at images, I'd just be like, yeah, I like that, I like that, I like that. But I probably wouldn't be able to tell the similarities between them, apart from colours. That's like literally all I'd be able to tell.
Definitely. Everybody's usually like, oh, everything that I like is really different. But if you actually knuckle down and compare them, they're not that different. There's usually you might have like the same shape in everything, or as I said, the same type of flower. There's usually like a pattern going through it. Although I have had clients where there isn't a pattern.
No.
I'm just like, we just had to pick one. It was all lovely, but completely different. Completely.
So would that be like your best advice of where to start with your florist? Would be get lots of ideas of what you think you would like and just start from there, would you say?
Yeah, definitely. Start off just by looking at, don't worry too much about the types of things that you want. So in the beginning, don't try too hard to think about, do I want tall arrangements? Do I want low arrangements? Just start saving pictures of things that you like, colours that you like. One of my most recent clients, who I met a week or so ago, she took me images, but it was lovely because none of her images were flowers.
Really?
They were images of all different stuff. There was a couple of images from the film Heathers, the 90s film with Winona Ryder. Yeah. So the title of that is Pink with like a red. It's either pink with a red outline or red with a pink outline. But those were the colours that she wants. So she wants pink with a splash of red. Right. And she sent me like a pink mattress, a pink wall, like nothing floral, but it was really cool.
Wow. That's really cool.
That's really cool, because it kind of starts to build up a mood board, I guess, doesn't it, for you to kind of pick from and go that way.
When I put her mood board together for her, I added all those images onto it as well for like our colours, and there was also, I think, a picture of Snow White with the red apple and things like that, and it's made a really cool mood board, and it's probably clearer. Yeah, it's probably clearer than some of my mood boards that have just flowers, if I'm honest.
Yeah. I suppose that really makes sense to do it that way, doesn't it? Because you've got to think about your day as a whole, haven't you? So like from where the kind of situation that you're in, the type of clothing you're going to be wearing, the colours that are involved in the day apart from just in the flowers. So yeah, I guess that's a good way to kind of go about it, because then you're bringing the whole day into one cohesive scheme, aren't you?
Yeah, I think, it's the only thing is sometimes people get too caught up in like having a colour scheme or what colour, for example. Quite often it's what colour their bridesmaids will be wearing. So their bridesmaid will be wearing, say, a blush pink. So they're like, oh, well, I can't have blue. I mean, you could have blue, but for example, I can't have blue because my bridesmaids are in pink. But the best thing to do is just choose colours that you like and try not to worry too much. If you leave that to all of the people that, like, all of your suppliers, we will be able to tell you whether, like, I would never say to someone, yes, let's do it, if in my head I was thinking,
right, that won't work.
Don't do it. I'd always say maybe we should use a different shade, or maybe we should try a lilac instead. It's best not to get too caught up, because you really want it to be something that you really like and that really reflects you, as opposed to something that you think matches with everything else or matches with your venue, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and matchy doesn't really always look that nice, does it, either? So yeah, that's good advice.
Yeah, sometimes people get so caught up in it being the perfect shade, can't they, when they're planning around a colour scheme, that it can get too stressful.
Yeah, really. Especially my end, we're trying to choose flowers.
Well, that's the thing with sunflowers. If they're not quite that perfect cut. I mean, it's a flower at the end of the day, isn't it? So you can't control a huge aspect of it, I'm sure. So yeah, that must be.
I always try and steer away from getting too caught up on exact shades because I can't promise what it's going to come in like from Holland. It's just a guessing game. I can tell you it's pink, but that's about it.
So would you like to talk us through like a typical work day for you, or not a work day, but I guess a workflow from the start of it, working with a client right through to their wedding, to let us know kind of what we should expect from you, like if we booked a florist, basically?
So normally I get contacted, so I'll get an email or a form off my website, or quite often I get messages on Instagram from brides. The first port of call is I would send out not a standard email, but I'll let you know if the date's available, and I let the client know what the general process is, and then they're invited to come over to the studio. So for my Essex brides, they'll come in and see me in Ardley, and see all our containers and come and have a cup of tea and what have you. But for my London clients or anybody further afield, generally I go and meet them. And if we can, we tie this in with like a venue visit so that I can see what I would be dressing if I get the booking. That's usually about a year before the big day, which seems like such a long time. We'll have a meeting, we'll chat through everything, absolutely everything that you could possibly need, and we'll really nail down what it is that you want. And usually at the start of the consultation, they've come in with no idea, maybe a colour or maybe a picture that they really liked. And then hopefully, if I'm doing it right, by the time that they leave, we have a really clear idea of what they want, and we've really nailed down what was in their head, and I hopefully understand. Then I will go away and I build a personalised quote, and I also do a mood board. So the idea of the mood board is you can visualise what I visualise in my head, because obviously when I look at the quote and I see a list of flowers and then I see a description of wild and textured or round and rose heavy, in my head I'll instantly picture all of those flowers and know what it's going to look like. But I know that my client can't do the same thing. Usually they don't actually know what half the flowers on the list are. So they all go on the mood board, so they can use that to think, yes, this is what I wanted. And it also helps because sometimes the mood board's completely changeable. Sometimes they'll look and they'll be like, actually, I know in our consultation we said that we wanted this flower, but now that I'm looking at it against all the other flowers, I don't like it. And that's a good time to remove it rather than get to their wedding day and then they're like, don't like it.
Kicking them all out.
Yes, a little bit late. And then if they book, that's your initial part of choosing your wedding flowers done. I tend to stay in contact with all my brides all the way through. We meet again about 6 weeks before your wedding day and go back through the quote. And this is where they either say, yes, I still love everything, or they say, actually, I want to change everything.
Start again.
So you can almost start again. But the best times are when they still absolutely love the mood board, love the quote. And that's when we finalise everything. And we go from there. And then the next point we see each other is the wedding day. And I obviously work on the wedding for the whole week before. And the day after.
Really? Just taking down, I guess. Don't think of that.
Collect everything afterwards and clear up the mess. But most of my brides follow me on Instagram or one of my social media platforms, so we're usually in contact for the entire period, and I quite often get tagged in things where people, like my brides, are like, oh, I really like this, like, do I have this flower? And things like that. Which is nice though. I like to walk away really knowing the brides and feeling like I understand what they like what they're after and what they want. It makes it quite nice.
So how long does it take you to get the flowers ready for the wedding? Depending obviously on what everyone's gone for, but typically when you say you spend a whole week on it, what is it that you're doing when you're doing that?
So at the beginning of the week is like my organisation day. So on the Monday is when I finalise my flower order. I go back through my quote and check that I've done all my quantities correctly. And I have to work out exact number of stems that I need to order for all different designs, which is actually incredibly difficult because everything I do is bespoke, and every time I'm like, oh, I've never made this before. I don't know. I don't know how many stems it's going to use. So it's a massive guessing game, and that takes quite a long time. I also have to. Is it still working?
Yeah, I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Bear with me 1 second.
Yeah,
You've just gone for a costume
there we
change.
go. Yay.
Yeah, I was like, oh no, just start again. That would not be good. Oh, I've lost my train of thought.
Also, stems is quite hard. Yep.
Yes. And then I also do like my organising. I was actually watching one of your podcasts earlier, and I do the same thing as you girls, and I work out all my timings.
Ah, good.
So, because obviously I usually have quite a few venues to flick between.
Yeah.
So I make sure that I know what time I've got to be with the bride, what time I can get into the venue, what time the church will let me in, and all of those more boring but really vital.
Yeah.
vital things. And then I feel a little bit more relaxed knowing that I know what time I have to be everywhere, and that's like my Monday done. It depends on the size of the wedding to the day that everything arrives. If it's a Saturday a wedding, my flowers usually come on a Thursday. So Tuesday, Wednesday will just be sending out orders and bouquets and things I have in the shop. And also doing things like making sure I have all the correct sundries. So sundries are things like the pots that like the plastic pots that might go within a vase or a container, and all things like that. And if I need specific tape or pins or ribbon, or all the tiny little details will get sorted out midweek, so that I don't have to do like a last minute run in search of certain type of pin or something. So that's never fun. That's stressful. And then Thursday is my flowers, and I condition them all. So I take all the leaves off and all the thorns, and I freeze to death for a couple of hours in the studio.
This is why I can never be a florist, because I hate being cold.
Yeah, it's so there's so many layers. It was freezing. We're coming back into winter, and I'm dreading it. I'm like, no, it's so cold. It's horrible, so cold. But I do love my job. It's not horrible. I'll tell you. Just slating it. It's terrible. It depends on the size of the wedding to whether or not I carry on a Thursday or not. If it's a small wedding, I'll probably be done by sort of 2:00. If everything's conditioned and my quantities are all split up and I'm as organised as I could possibly be. But if it's a big wedding, then I'll be there for the whole day, starting on making designs and doing anything that's in water. So that obviously it doesn't die before the wedding day. And then Friday is a flat out. It's always a long day of just making, and then setting up on a Saturday on the actual day.
Cool. And what kind of time do you normally start on a Saturday, like roughly for like a normal day for you?
So I have a wedding this Friday, and I will be in the studio for 6 a.m.
Oh
yeah.
It's really early. Because a lot of things like buttonholes, I can't do them the day before because I want them to be as fresh as possible.
Right.
So I have to get up early and be in there and everything. And it's little bits like wrapping the bouquets with the ribbons and things like that, and loading the van. There's so much that has to be done that you don't think about.
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it? Because people just see florists as it is on the day, don't they? They don't see the kind of work and the lead up. It's kind of, they just see the flowers when they're in their hands and on the tables and stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, look, we hired a florist. People
always think that. I try and be really open on my Instagram. I'm losing my voice. It's the feeling of knowing all the work pages. Shaking up. No, I try and be really open on my Instagram with all of like my followers. So I always talk about what I'm doing. I'll let people know what time I'm in the studio and how long I've been working on something, so that people can see the other side of it, because we do all have a habit of glossing over obviously everything, so it looks all nice and shiny, but there is a lot to what we do, which is why you find, well, you don't always find, but often you might think that's quite expensive for an arrangement that I didn't think that much was going into, and I could go to Tesco and buy those flowers for.
Oh, that must be the bane of your life when you hear that.
It's not very fun.
No.
Yeah, there's a lot of work that goes into a wedding.
Yeah.
It's that leads quite nicely in, actually, to sorry, Kerry, to
I was about to say, it's the same as us in like when somebody says to us, oh, we're just gonna have a friend photograph our wedding, and we think, okay, good luck with that.
Imagine.
Okay, then you go ahead and do that then.
Well, you guys must have hours of editing afterwards as well.
Yeah, so ours is like the other way around to you, in that yours is the week of the wedding, ours is the week after, where it's just like sat in front of a computer with square eyes for hours, especially in the summer.
Yeah. Well, you watch the world pass you by through the window and you just sit in the dark.
Just editing.
Yeah, you just go whiter and whiter while everyone's getting nice towns.
Yeah.
Well, it's coming to winter now, so everyone will be pale all together.
Yeah, we can all be friends again.
I wanted to ask, actually, I know it's a bit of a cheeky question, but how much do you think a couple should sort of budget for their wedding flowers? Is it different for everybody, or is there always like a rough figure that's a fair, amount?
That's a really hard question.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's okay. It completely depends on the size of your wedding, because every wedding is so different in like how many bridesmaids you have, or how many buttonholes you want, and the number of tables and things like that. And also your venue will make a difference as well. Some venues are already, well, all venues are beautiful, but some venues need more help than others. An average wedding is, so I don't want to pin off.
Yeah, sorry to put
an average wedding is probably in the £1,000 range. But that completely depends on what you've gone for, because obviously everybody's wedding, the size of their wedding is very different, and the type of flowers that goes into, well, especially here at the Flower Ranger, everything that we do is one-offs. So everything is using each time a completely different combination of flowers, which means your price, you only need to swap one flower for one flower that's way more expensive, and the price could rocket. I think you need an open mind with your budget, or not an open mind, because I know not everybody's got a massive budget, but you need to be really open with your, I don't know if it's for all suppliers, but I always want to talk budget with my clients. If I know what budget you're working on, it doesn't matter if it's a big budget or a small budget. If I know what it is, I can work with you to make sure that I'm quoting you for something that you ultimately can afford, and that you're getting the most for your money. And I kind of work from there. So I'll take the budget and we work backwards. We'll still look at everything that you love, but that means I can be, during the consultation, I can say, okay, I think if we had this, it might take us out of that amount of money that might take you over.
Which is a much nicer way to go about it, isn't it? Rather than just being like, oh, right, you want that? Well, it's going to cost you this much. At least like you can be like, okay, that's your budget, let's work with it, rather than being like, oh no, sorry, it's impossible.
Especially because I can't give a price. I don't give out prices during the consultation, because I don't know till I go away and sit down at my computer and actually work out my stem count and the cost of the container and all that, and the labour and the amount of time and things. It's not till then that I can give a price. So if I'm working to a budget, I'll know roughly, if you've got quite a small budget and you've shown me this huge like hanging installation, I'll be like, okay, that's
not going to happen.
Okay, that's gone already. But yeah, because I don't offer, some florists do offer a price list on their websites, or on request, but I just don't, flat out, I don't do it, purely because I'd hate to promise a price to a client, and then when they actually sat down and worked out what they wanted, if it was more money, that's if that was me, it's a little bit soul destroying if you turn out you can't afford it and you thought you could. And it kind of wastes my time and your time as well, because obviously you don't want to have come and met someone and then get a quote that's not even that you can't afford, that's just way more than you wanted to spend on your flowers. So I work really close with the client, and we discuss budget. So you don't really need a certain amount, but you just need to know what you want to spend. And I mean, I can't
be reasonable about it. And
I'll work with a budget, but I'm not magic, so there's obviously a limit of what I can do with it. I can always do something, definitely something.
That's good.
I like the prices of flowers always changing as well, or not, or are they quite consistent? Because that must be hard.
They change daily.
Really?
Monthly. Well, obviously they're bought on auction, so sometimes it depends on your wholesaler as well. So each florist will vary. Some wholesalers will offer like a set price on a type of flower, say like a stock. I just saw a tag walk past.
Oh, did you? Making his famous appearance.
I got distracted. I was like, oh. So for example, like a stock, they might always sell it to you for 65p, and they'd probably take if there was a loss, like if it was more expensive, they'd take that hit. But if you buy on auction, then literally you could pay, it could be quite a big difference in what you pay, which does make it really hard to quote for. You don't know, but you kind of have to have, I think everybody does it differently, but you have to have a little allowance in when you're quoting, I'm aware that my prices might have a little increase.
Especially if you're quoting so far in advance as well.
Because I'm always quoting for the year ahead. So it's a bit of a guessing game, if I'm honest.
That would stress me out. I'm not getting into floristry.
I know, it's so hard. Wow.
I feel like I've just gone through this podcast though. My job is lovely, but there are some hard bits. That things like flower prices is hard. It fluctuates as well with popularity of flowers. So as the trends change, you might have quoted for something when, say, before gyp became gypsophilia, for people that don't know, the fluffy white stuff became hugely popular. You might have quoted the year before for that wedding, and the price was 45p a stem. And then everybody suddenly decides that they love the fluffy white stuff and that they must have it in their wedding. And by the time their wedding rolls around 12 months later, the price has like tripled.
No way.
Or you can't get it. So this year I could not get apricot stocks.
Really?
From anyone. And I had 2 weddings who both wanted apricot stocks, and they just were, I just couldn't get them. I know that they were being sold, but I just wasn't. My wholesaler was like trying all different growers and calling up all different people in Holland, because I was like, I must have the apricot stock.
Oh my word, how stressful. Wow.
Yeah, they just couldn't get them, but that's all part of the fun of my job.
Which this leads us very nicely into you talking to us about trends. So is there anything that you're noticing more and more with couples that they're going for? Or things that you wish people would do with their flowers?
Ooh, so much. Trends, I don't notice them so much. I mean, I'm aware of them because I'm always, as I tell everyone else to go on Pinterest and Instagram, I'm obsessed with Instagram, and I spend my life looking at flowers and chatting with other florists. So I do sort of see trends popping up, but my clients tend to come to me because they want something different. So I don't personally see with my own clients any particular trends, because I literally do. One day I'll be doing a tropical wedding, and the next day I'll be doing something country garden, and the next day it's like a circus themed or something completely random. The gyp is still going strong. Gypsophilia, people love it, and that's probably been going for like 2 or 3 years now.
Oh, that's been driving you a little bit mad.
that's ongoing. I think a lot of people are going for natural flowers as well. So your like soft pinks and your nudes, with some really nice greenery like eucalyptus and lots of quicksand roses and things like that are definitely popping up a lot online in this year's weddings. Things that I would like people to do, or that I'm hoping come in. I love building stuff, so I really like when I get asked to do installations and hanging things and staircase flowers, anything, mainly because it pushes me personally, and it's fun to do. I love doing all kinds of flowers, but when I get things like that, it's something I've never done before, so I have to go away and work out how I'm going to build it and how it's going to work, and that for me is really fun. And it just is really fun. I get really excited about like making big installations and arches and things like that because they just push me, and I love learning. So I'm like, yes, how am I going to build this like huge massive arch, and how is it going to stand up by itself, and how am I going to attach the flowers? But that, I mean, I don't do them all the time because they obviously do cost quite a lot of money to do. Because I have to do all of that, and because so many flowers go into it. But I don't think there's really anything else that I'd like people to do. I just love that everybody does something different, and for people to keep doing that, so not feel like they have to find what the trend is and they have to go for what everybody else is going for, because you only get married once. Well, yeah, fingers crossed. It's your special day, so you want it to be special, and I love that people are starting to really break the boundaries in what they're having, and they're not afraid to go for something different that they haven't seen before. That's always really nice, and I hope that people keep doing that. Most of my clients do, because I really encourage that you do whatever you want, however strange you might think it is, because it's fun, and I love, and the aim of all my weddings is that when their guests walk into their wedding venue, that they think that this is really Sarah Remark. This is so them, and to really tell that they've had input with the flowers. And if I can do, I mean, half the time I don't know if I've done that because I'm not there when the guests arrive. But that's the aim, to really create something that reflects my couples, and that they love and that they've helped to do. And that's, I'm not really about trends. That's probably that sounds really cliche, doesn't it? But I'd like to do things differently every time, if I can.
Which is good, because it keeps you on your toes, and it means that so often people fall into like the same categories all the time. They've just seen things in magazines, haven't they? And be like, oh, we want that. It's so nice to kind of just be like, well, what are you doing? And we'll make something unique. Yeah.
Well, that's why, like I was saying earlier, don't start by thinking about, do I want tall? Do I want short? Do I want peaches? Just find things that you like and save them all. Just keep them all. And then we'll look at them all and we'll go from there, and we'll just work it out. We'll just plan something and build something. And you end up with something totally unique, and probably something you'd love more than if you'd gone through a wedding magazine and been like, oh, I should have one of these things because this is the 2017 trends. Your wedding flowers. So yeah, it's nice that people are happy to do that.
Good. Well, I think you've answered everything pretty well there, Sapphire.
I feel like I've talked for ages.
No, I think that was so interesting. It's so nice sort of hearing about another business and all the work, and I think it's good for people to appreciate all the work that goes in, and passion, and
I hope I have just moaned.
No, you've not moaned. No.
I feel like the amount of times I've been like, yeah, that's hard.
But I think it's really good, because so many people don't realise what goes into like businesses when they're kind of booking for their wedding. So to find out all that goes on behind the scenes, rather than just being like, well, why does it cost that much when you get a quote? Do you know what I mean? That's what I think is really important about kind of having this podcast and finding out.
I don't think I even realised before I started my own business how much work goes into it. And then once I was a couple months in, I was like, oh my God, this is hard.
Yeah, this is 7 days a week. It's
so much to do.
Yeah.
Crazy. But it's fun. I love it.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we're all convinced that you love your job.
Yes, don't worry.
I think I've done it like 4 times now, but just to clarify, I love my job. So
Perfect. Well, just before we go, do you want to let everyone know where they can find you online? And then we'll wrap up.
Ooh, I feel like I'm on the radio. You can find me. I am the Flower Ranger. So if you either pop into Instagram and type in the Flower Ranger, we will come up, hopefully, if you spell it right. Fingers crossed we come up. Or www.theflowerranger.co.uk, and you can find all the links to any social media and all the information that you need. Or just, send me an email and I'll chat.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
Oh, thank you so much for your time.
Okay, thanks for having me.
No worries. See you later.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to Get Wed.
We hope you enjoyed us babbling on.
And if you did, we'd love for you to let us know.
Head to getwedpodcast.co.uk, hit review and leave your comments.
We hope to see you next time.
Happy
Happy planning!